Joining us right now is Joe DiGenova. He, of course, is the former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia and our legal analyst and a bon vivant of his own kind. Hey, Joe DiGenova, thanks for joining us.
And thank you for having me, and happy Thanksgiving to you and all the listeners.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot,
to
Joe.
you as well. Hey, Joe, I want to swing back to Obama. There's so much in the news, and if it weren't for this bizarre Iran deal that happened late Friday night, we'd all be talking about Obamacare. So let's do that. Let's not follow the leader here. Let's actually talk about Obamacare. The breaking news on Friday was that the Obama administration unilaterally decided that the 2014 sign-ups that would have taken place in October, 2 weeks before the election, the midterms election, they're just going to push it back a month, so it's 2 weeks after the midterm election. At what point, Joe DiGenova, does the House of Representatives, the people's house, the people we've elected to represent us, when do they draw the line and say, no, enough is enough, executive branch, you cannot keep superseding your authority, you can't just do this unilaterally?
Well, they have been doing that. Unfortunately, legally, there's nothing the House of Representatives can do. If the Senate were in the hands of the Republicans, there's a lot that could be done, like defunding and a whole bunch of other things. And that's where we're going to end up, by the way. There isn't going to be any resolution of any of this. Sequester is going to stay in place. There isn't going to be a budget deal, especially after Harry Reid changed the filibuster rule. There is such anger. Now, he has completely destroyed any possibility of agreement on any outstanding issues. So sequester is here for 9 years. Yeah. Obamacare is going to not have enough money, and it's going to continue to get worse. Obamacare is in a death spiral, and they can push back deadlines. They can do all they want. The one thing they're not going to be able to change is that tens and tens of millions of people are going to lose their health insurance, and it's not just individual buyers. It's groups, small businesses, and others. And so they know that, and they're doing everything they can to avoid dealing with it. But you can only push it back so far. And, right. Look at Mary Landrieu's numbers down in Louisiana. She is plummeting.
She's in trouble.
She lost down 10 points.
And so are people like Mark Warner.
Pryor.
Where is Mark Warner? Is he on that milk carton?
Mark Warner's still missing in action. Joe DiGenova, you actually remind me of the second topic I wanted to hit on real fast. The filibuster, what we know as the nuclear option that got triggered by Harry Reid. They said it was because of the unprecedented number of filibusters blocking judicial nominations and also the unprecedented number of vacancies here in the D.C. Court of Appeals. You used to deal with that court. Is it true? I mean, is this really an unprecedented measure that called for the drastic nuclear option?
No, I think the Democrats have made a terrible mistake, not only because of the effect that's going to happen now on the ability of people to compromise and get along. This session of Congress is over as a result of what Harry Reid did. And this was totally unnecessary. There could have been compromises on all these nominations. As far as the D.C. Circuit is concerned, their workload is so minimal compared to other circuits that they do not need those three judges, but they're going to get them now, and there's going to be an ideological shift in that court, and that will give the president, at least in the lower courts, an upper hand on regulation, because, as you know, very few cases get to the Supreme Court.
You know, you're exactly right. This is the court that deals with challenges to rules,
right,
regulations, federal rule-making procedures. I mean, and they're going to pack that court with people who will, protect the Obama legacy in this regard.
There's no doubt about that. That's exactly why they want to do this, because, as you know, it was that very court which said that the appointments to the National Labor Relations Board were unconstitutional because they were not made during a legitimate recess of the Senate, as so-called. They were not legitimate recess appointments because there was no recess. So this is clearly designed as a power grab by the Democrats. But you know what? I think in 2014, I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
The Republicans are going to take the Senate. I think that Obamacare has shifted the ground politically so basically, so fundamentally. When you look at the number of independents who now support Republicans over Democrats, those numbers have shifted dramatically. And it's because of the lying, the dissembling, the misrepresentations, and the power grabs. There is a cumulative effect over time of all this stuff that happens every day in that briefing room at the White House and on Capitol Hill. And I think now, finally, the lying and the dissembling is catching up with the catching up with the Democrats. It's having a powerful powerful political effect that you can't necessarily see, but it's sneaking into those polls, and I think the Democrats know it, and they're scared to death.
I think if you look at a lot of polls, you begin to see this.
Yep.
I want to talk about something else. In 1983 through 1988, you were the U.S. Attorney.
Yep.
And during those years, I mean, I came here in '86. I recall that Washington, D.C. was a pretty dangerous place.
Very much so.
It was as I remember, the murder capital of the world there at one point.
We were.
And it was if you turned one block the wrong way, you could find yourself in a very, very dangerous neighborhood. It's gotten better over the years.
It has.
But I'm beginning to suspect that maybe we're reverting back. I mean, we have these crimes, these knockout crimes, where people just walking down the street are just knocked out. There seems to be a meanness creeping back into the streets. Now, I will admit to you, I don't have statistics because they release the statistics about a year after they occur.
Yes.
But my anecdotal sense is this town's getting mean again.
Well, I think there's an atmosphere about crime in the city now, and I don't know that the statistics necessarily reflect that feeling. I do think, though, that people are hearing more about crime and getting concerned about it. And these knockout crimes, which are just done out of vengeance or so-called boredom, according to some of the perpetrators, I don't think that's hit the D.C., the District of Columbia yet. But
there have been 2 cases, actually.
Oh, there have been? See, I was unaware of that. And I think it's the kind of thing that actually tells you more, a deeper thing about society and about a town or a city. What's wrong? Why is that happening? Where is the supervision? Where are the families? Of course, the families don't exist, and that's the problem. And we had a temporary reprieve. We've been very lucky over the last few years with the decrease in crime. People don't actually know about that. I think some of it is demographic. There are fewer youthful people, which are the main category for that. But it's always in the back of people's mind, and there's no doubt about it. It can become very, very scary, and I think people have to be very vigilant. And if this stuff starts to pick up, the city has to figure out how to deal with it. But for example, let me just tell you something. During the time when homicides and everything went up in the district, that was after they had disbanded the homicide squad, the robbery squad, the sexual. They got rid of all the old squads where they had intelligence groups, and that's when crime went up. I actually don't even know the way the police department is organized now. Kathy Lanier seems to be doing a pretty good job. She seems like a straight shooter. Let's see if she can continue to work and keep crime down. But who knows?
Joe DiGenova, always great to start our week, especially a holiday week with you. Happy Thanksgiving. Stuffing or dressing on the DiGenova Thanksgiving table?
Stuffing.
There you go.
Oh,
and real cranberries.
I like the cranberry that comes out and is laid on the table in the shape of the can.
That's good. You slice it like a loaf.
Slice it. Oh, that's good stuff.
Joe, many blessings to you this week.
And